Hello, welcome to a video about QR code adventures. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to model how you could do a QR code adventure in your social studies classroom. QR code adventures can be used in any content area, but today in particular I'm going to go over social studies. And I used to teach social studies and I did use QR code adventures a couple of times in my classroom. So today what I wanted to do is step into two roles. The first role being teacher. So I'm going to just model really quickly the direct instruction portion of the lesson, and then after that I'm going to be the student and model what the student would do once they engaged in this QR code adventure. So a QR code, that stands for quick response code. You may have seen them. They're all over the place now. They kind of look like this basically. They are a black and white square. They kind of look like a barcode, and they are scanned by a device such as your computer or by a smartphone, more often a smartphone, a mobile device. And once they're scanned by an app, a QR code reader app, which are completely free in your app stores, once they're scanned, they go to a link of information. So QR codes, this is just basically a big fancy link. So instead of having www.mpsaz.org, if you scan this might go to www.mpsaz.org right away on your phone, or it could be a YouTube video or something like that. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to step into the role of teacher. So welcome, students. Today you might notice I have some QR coded around the room, some QR codes, and underneath those are landmark Supreme Court cases that we've been learning about. So Plessy versus Ferguson, Miranda versus Arizona, those types of cases are written underneath the QR codes. So in this QR code adventure, you're going to have to figure out which QR code you need to go to next. So they're in no particular order in the room, but they are in a particular order for you to go through. You're going to get a clue, and you're going to go from that clue to another one. So you might be starting, actually you're going to all start at the Supreme Court right over here. So everybody's going to start here. I need even have start here right on top. And then once you scan that QR code, you're going to get a clue from this one, and it's going to tell you, this Supreme Court case resulted in blank, blank, blank. And then you're going to have to say to yourself, I wonder which one that was. Was that Marbury versus Madison? Was it Miranda versus Arizona? So from the information you get from here, you're going to go to your next clue in the room. Then once you scan the next QR code on that one, it's going to lead you to the next one and so forth until you're at the last one. And you'll know you're at the last one because it will tell you you're done. Okay? Now, before you do this, I want everybody to have a little sticky note or something that they're going to write something on, because you're going to get a letter or a number underneath each clue that you see. And you'll see what I mean in a little bit. You will get a letter or a number, and you're going to have to write that down in order. Because at the end of this QR code adventure, the order of those numbers and letters is going to become very important, because you are going to complete an assignment, and the way you're going to unlock that assignment is through the code that you write down based on the letters and numbers that you get from each clue. Okay, so I'm done explaining that as a teacher, so now I'm going to step into the role of student. And students can use their own smartphone to do this. Like I said, the QR code apps are numerous. They're out there in the App Store. They are free, most of them. There's some that you have to pay for, but most of them are free and they work great. So I have my smartphone. I'm going to use this, and I have a QR code app already on it. So as the teacher said, we're starting here at the picture of the Supreme Court, and here's the QR code. So I'm going to go ahead and start my phone up. And I have my QR code reader app, so I'm going to open that. Okay, and then what I have to do is, it puts on my camera. I'm going to go ahead and scan this QR code, and it scans very quickly. And as you can see, it tells me right here, this first clue, find the Supreme Court case that upheld state laws requiring racial segregation at public facilities under the separate but equal doctrine. So me, I already know that case, and hopefully my students would know it too. I am the student in this case. That would be Plessy versus Ferguson. So I got to scan the room, and I see it right over here. Okay, and I don't want to forget. I'm forgetting my little post-it notes, because I know this next clue is going to have a letter or a number underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and scan the code above Plessy versus Ferguson. Okay, and it's going to my next one. It has the letter Z there, so I'm going to write that down on my post-it note. Z. And it says, find the Supreme Court case that established that police must advise criminal suspects of their constitutional rights before questioning them. Well, from studying this in class, I know that that's the Miranda case, right here from Arizona. So I'm going to go ahead and find that one. Let's see it there. Oh, here it is, right over here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Miranda versus Arizona, scan that one. And it scanned it very quickly, and it goes to my next clue, which says, find the Supreme Court case that established the basis of the exercise of judicial review under Article 3 of the Constitution. And it's got the number 2 underneath that. So I have Z2, and this one's telling me to go to the judicial review case, which I know is Marbury versus Madison. Okay, so I'm going to go to that one. But I did put, as a teacher, I put a red herring in here just to distract. I have a case, not a fake case, this is an actual Supreme Court case, but it's not a landmark case, Batman versus Commissioner. So if I as a student thought this was the case I needed to go to, it would say, oh, it's a red picture of a red herring, and it just says, this is an actual federal court case, but not a landmark Supreme Court case. Try again, basically. So I said, okay, well, that's not a real case that I need to know. And I know it's Marbury versus Madison. And hopefully the students are going in the correct order of these. Okay, and this one has the letter A, so I'm going to write that down on my post-it note. So I have Z2A, and it says, find the Supreme Court case that held that the First Amendment right to free speech doesn't protect speech that presents a clear and present danger. Okay, so I know that's a Schenck case, so I'm going to go ahead and go find that one. Oh, it's actually right here. So Schenck versus the United States. I'm going to scan that one. And it tells me, you've reached the end of this adventure. Go back to your desk and log into Canvas. Go to the Judicial System unit and select the correct 4-digit code you wrote down as you did this adventure in the Google form quiz contained in today's assignment in Canvas. So I have a number 1 there, so that completes my code Z2A1. And my teacher told me to have this in the correct order, so I have Z2A1. I believe I got these cases in the correct order. So now I'm going to go ahead and follow the directions that were contained in that clue, telling me to go back to my desk. I've already logged into Canvas. For time's sake, I pulled up that Google form quiz that my teacher told me to pull up. And he's asking what was the correct order. So I'm going to look at my post-it, and I have Z2A1. So I go down here, select that, and I press next. And it tells me correct. So I know I got it correct. Now, had I filled that out with one of the other codes, let's see the answer that it would give me, or the response it would give me. It would tell me, I'm sorry, that's not the right code. Try the QR code adventure again. Okay, but once I click in that correct code, it tells me I'm correct, and then it tells me to do something else. So this is basically unlocking my assignment. Oh, and I have another assignment. Evaluate, of the U.S. Supreme Court cases in this QR code adventure, which do you believe had the most significant impact on American history? Justify your answer with evidence. So the QR code adventure was kind of lower level on Bloom's because it was just reviewing things I learned. But now my teacher has put this up on Bloom's taxonomy to the evaluate level, and I'm having to evaluate and justify my answer with evidence. So this concludes how you could do a QR code adventure in social studies. This was an example using landmark Supreme Court cases, but you could do this with geography, have some maps around the room, and have students go to different maps. You could do this in economics, you could do this in any type of content, and it doesn't have to be social studies either. Any type of content works. So thank you for watching, I hope that helped.